I'm ready for this Dallas game, man. Come on, come on, that.
Oh yeah, it looked like they might mess around and beat them. I don't know.
We'll see.
They might mess around. They might have a leg up on them. I don't, because the Clippers bench looking a little shaky. And Dallas look like they might have a matchup problem with them.
That boy Luka Doncic, man.
He been hooping.
Hey, I told somebody at work today. I'm like, he play like he from over here.
Yeah.
He don't even play like he from overseas, because you know the European, like, they play kind of weird. You know what I'm saying? They body movements ain't the same, but like he play like he from here.
Yeah, it looked like they I don't know. It looked like he got some extra exposure or something.
Man.
He don't play like he ain't never played against black people.
Right, that's what I'm saying, man. He play like he from here, like one of them little white boys from the hood that was real good.
Because Miami got a couple people like that. They got a couple white boys who play kind of like he does.
Yeah, they probably from here though.
Yeah. I mean, but what country? Because if he from one of them countries, I think he's from that area in the world where Dragic, he might be Yugoslavian or something. So they all kind of hoop over there.
Mm-hmm. We live, y'all.
Sports Center preview.
See a Sports Center, yeah, because I know everybody looking at the whistle call, so playoffs.
Yeah, I'm gonna play this video real quick, man. Sutekh, you still on probation, man?
Yep, this is my last day.
Man,
on parole.
You stay in jail, man, in Facebook.
They going fed. Federal, boy.
Yeah,
get out early.
He federal. Shoot.
Ain't no Takashi.
Hold on, let me enlarge this and play this. Yeah, ain't what I want to do.
All these crazy people.
Ladies and gentlemen, the books is in. The books are in. Yep. They in. Yeah.
I'm gonna share real quick, and we'll get back in there in just a minute. All right, man. First, I want to say, put my headphones back in. Yeah, I was able to hear the music, man. I snatched my earphones out real quick, so I hope they was able to hear the music. Was y'all able to hear it?
Oh yeah, I could hear it.
Yeah, it was kind of going in and out a little bit still, but I could hear it for the most part.
Yeah, I snatched them out real quick. I forgot I had them in my ear. But anyway, man, first I want to say ETM Hotep, Dua Aku, Dua Netcher, Fatmu Alafiye, Fatmu Riwi, Majuba Iba Gungun, Majuba Iba Gungun, Majuba Iba Lakba, Majuba Iba Lakba, Gungun Kiki Gungun. I always want to give honor and praises to the ancestors, because without the ancestors, we wouldn't be here. We are our ancestors. I also want to give or extend honors and praises to the true and living ancestors. I mean, not ancestors, but elders, according to African traditions, from because we look at everything from an African perspective and an African world view. Peace to those that are in the chat. Peace to those that may be looking at this later on in the archives. Welcome back to Kofi Pie TV with Kofi Pie Research team. Today we have another good discussion today. I got our good brother Chris Marshall, my good brother Sutekh Miriam, and our good brother T'Challa Bongara, our good brother Vasa Nicolo Gullah, and our good brother Sutekh Akande Iyanu Oluwa. Our good brother Herit Shawn Khalfani is on the JOB. Well, shout out to our brother Herit Shawn Khalfani. Any of y'all got anything, man, before I share my screen, man, and we jump into it? I'm gonna kind of let you take the lead too. I'll play the video first, and then T'Challa, I'll let you take the lead.
Yeah, peace. Say Lafayette, peace, family. Make sure you like and share the show. We're gonna be doing hopefully a bill that should be interesting for y'all, and hopefully we can give y'all something to take away with y'all, man. Like I said, like and share the show. If you ain't got volume 1 and volume 2, Spirits of the Mossi, volume 1, from Spirits to Pen, which is volume 2, make sure you go and get that, man. Please support.
Anybody else? Don't nobody else want to say nothing before the show starts?
Peace to everybody that's in the chat. Appreciate y'all coming through. Another great discussion today. We definitely gonna get into some good information, and like and share the show, and let's get into it.
Peace, everybody. Like my brothers have said, like and share the show. Hopefully we deliver a good presentation once again, and peace to everybody.
Peace. Shout out to everybody, who's supporting us, who's in the chat, who's watching us. Get volume 1, your volume 2. Hold up, volume 2. Support the channel, support this great historic work. And I'm ready to talk about these crazy ass celebrities.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna first what I'm gonna do, T'Challa, is I'm gonna play the video in Sutekh. I can play the video. I can play the video without sharing it, right? Just don't share my screen. Just go to it on the page and just play it.
Yeah. With your mic open.
Okay. Yeah. I'm glad you said that. Let me take my headphones out, because they definitely won't be. I'll be able to hear it. I'm thinking everybody else hearing it. There ain't nobody hearing nothing. I don't unplug my headphones. Let me go over here. So let's deal with this. First, we're gonna deal with Akon. This on Vlad TV, it says Akon, Africans no longer think about slavery. Black Americans still blame the past hard too. So our basic discussion is going to be around this interview, but we may veer off and we may talk about some other crazy celebrities. We may touch on Kanye West, Terry Crews, Cardi B, Jay, whoever, man, wherever the bill lead us at, man, that's where we're gonna lead. That's where we're gonna let the leaders at. We're gonna start off first with the comment that Akon made on Vlad TV. So I'm gonna play it. We're not gonna play the video. We'll just play the audio from the video. Y'all out there, let me know if y'all can hear the audio clear.
How do Senegalese
Hold
really
on,
feel?
y'all. Oh, I don't know why.
You know, there are.
There you go.
Yeah, it's crazy. How do Senegalese really feel about slavery and what happened? Because, you know, there are a lot of very foul people involved in the slave trade. There was, of course, Europeans, you know, Jews and whites were involved, but you know, Africans
Can
were
y'all
involved
hear
in
that?
it as well. They were selling off their enemies,
Yeah,
you know, the
we can
enemy
hear it now.
and so forth. Like, how is slavery really looked at out there?
What letting the past go. And
Hold on,
moving
y'all.
towards the
Let me
future,
start
I
it
think
over,
in the
man.
US,
I done
they have
messed
this
up
thing
some.
of
I'm
just
trying to
not
get my
letting
mic
the past and blame
closer to the laptop where it can come out clear.
Yeah, it's crazy. How do Senegalese really feel about slavery and what happened? Because, you know, there are a lot of very foul people involved in the slave trade. There was, of course, Europeans, you know, Jews and whites were involved, but you know, Africans were involved in it as well. They were selling off their enemies, you know, the enemy tribes and making their money and so forth. Like, how is slavery really looked at out there?
Well, in Senegal, we've kind of overcome the thought of slavery. We don't even think about it. The only time we think about it, honestly, is when we're doing tours at Good Island. You know, outside of that, people have lived and moved and way beyond the slavery concept and idea in mind state.
Right, because in Senegal, you actually know your history. You can trace your family back 100 generations, whatever else. You still have your names, your real names. You're not named Johnson,
and Jackson,
and Washington, and all the other slave owners that were the presidents who had slaves during that time, Jefferson,
you know,
and so forth. Yeah, but you guys actually have your history, and that was the whole thing of walking around Senegal. People just felt. It was the first time I felt Black people just felt comfortable and with no type of disease. You know, I mean,
I think it's also the art of just letting the past go and moving towards the future. And I think in the U.S. they have this stigma of just not letting go of the past and blaming the past on every mishap or, you know, disappointment. And I think as long as you hold on to that past, it's just a lot of weight that you carry with you everywhere you go. And it's hard to move forward and move fast when you got to, you know, weight on your back. You just got to let it go.
There's also been no reparations. And there's been, you know.
Yeah, but unfortunately, man, like, it's not like America is going to take the initiative to do it. I mean, otherwise they would have did it already. You know, Indians got reparations, the Jewish got reparations for Holocaust, and it wasn't even done in America. You know what I'm saying? So
Italians got reparations.
Japanese got reparations.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, it's to the point now where African Americans have to really understand their worth and realize that America was never or intended to ever, you know, consult or even make up for any of that. They're not sorry. They don't care.
Yeah.
It's obvious. So do you want to stay here and continue to be treated this way, or just go back home where you're now no longer the minority? You actually are the majority and you control your destiny and your future and your land.
Yeah, no. Honestly, every Black person who has an issue with how people are treated in America, they really should go to Africa.
They need to. They just need to go.
99% of them have not.
I've never been there.
Yeah.
And they're super afraid to go.
A few of my friends, you know, the Michael Jai Whites have gone back, and you know, the John Sallys have gone back. The people with money, you know, and means. But the average Black person in America has no idea how dope Africa really is.
I'm telling you, they have no idea.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, America did a great job brainwashing. Because I'm telling you, the moment you mention Africa, they start shaking.
Yeah,
they don't even know why.
Think there's just tigers jumping into your hotel room.
Right.
Zebra attacks and the whole nine.
And the potential there is so ridiculous, man, if they always move back.
All right. So that was the video, man. Do y'all want to play it back and then break it down some of the stuff he said, or y'all clear with what he got already?
Man, we don't need to play that mess back.
Yeah,
let's get into it. My spirit's ready.
All right, well, I'm gonna start first, and I'm gonna just make it quick, like with the contradiction that he just made, and then I'll let y'all go in. I'm gonna fall back. First, he said, hold on, and now I want to do this too. Let me go back here. Well, I ain't gonna share it. I was gonna keep it on there with them celebrities on there, but shoot, it's all good. But first he said that the people in Senegal, they don't even think about slavery, right? And he said the only time that they think about slavery is on Gory Island. So he that was a contradictory right there. They either thinking about slavery or they ain't thinking about it. So you said he said they don't think about slavery, right? Then he said, okay, we think of then he said only time they think about slavery is on Gory Island. For those that don't know about Gory Island, it's a slave dungeon there in Gory Island. And they make a lot of their money by this slave dungeon. So they make a lot of their money off of this dungeon where the Europeans had our ancestors at, and then took them to the door of no return, where they was never ever able to see their homeland or their families anymore. So they do think about the slave trade. So like I said, that was just a contradictory in themselves. But you do have some that don't think about slavery, probably don't even know about slavery. And the reason why that they probably wouldn't know about slavery is that they are being educated the same way that the African American over here in the United States is being educated. And they have no clue. They have a colonized education. For those that may not know, that the European went into Africa, into the interior of Africa, and they set up shop in Africa. They set up schools. You had missionaries come in. Missionaries taught them their native tongue. Their native tongue became the state language. They set their education system up, so they're being taught the European education system. So some of them may not know about slavery because of the colonizers' education system that they have over there in Africa. So again, just keep that in mind. And he contradicted himself. He said they don't think about slavery in Africa, but they got a slave dungeon over there where they profit off of the slave trade over there in Africa.
Okay. Who? I don't have to go next. Anybody can go next. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I jump in. I mean, just to keep it, I mean, I know we all, familiar with Chancellor Williams and how they buy off the chief. Like some of the things I've written about in terms of how the slave trade operated, in terms of how even those who were collaborators, and I think it's important to understand the difference between a slave trader and somebody who collaborates. A lot of people think that because you assisted the slave master, that you had some agency, you had some control. You didn't. It's kind of like, gentrification. It's like saying Black people didn't get their land colonized, they sold it. I mean, you even got people who think Native Americans sold their land. So when people, want to do this whole African sold us, like, and even talking about the whole thing in the past, they got Afrikan in Africa today, and if not all the countries, at least 95% of the countries, like their military is controlled from the outside. So a lot of this stuff is ego stuff to make them feel good. The reality is a lot of these celebrities who are going over there are contributing to neo-colonialism. They're there by, they're brought there by these puppet governments who, want to pretend like they're in charge, but it's very, immature, and it's some ego stuff to kind of escape reality, to not have to focus on that they don't control anything. They don't control the resources. They don't control the military. I mean, they over there fighting over Islam and like Christianity and stuff. A lot of them don't want to identify with being African. A lot of the languages are banned in Africa. So a lot, like even with the whole, whether or not African Americans are like learning the history, it just comes down to, America is a global empire and they control Africa from the outside. And I know a lot of people, they want to talk about the Berlin Conference, but after, World War II, America swallowed up all of the colonies that the European countries controlled. So like, even when you look at wars, a lot of like America helped all the European countries. So I think what it is just trying to feel like you in charge, but you're not in charge. It's almost like somebody who's scamming, who's pretending to be wealthy, but they getting wealthy off of a scam. So, Akon, he knows he's not dealing with African factories. He's not different. He's not dealing with African people making their own military. It's no African religion that's formalized or institutionalized in Africa where it's like, this is the African religion and even Europeans got to practice it. None of that is happening. So it's just being delusional and trying to maintain your ego, because having to confront that reality. I think Amos Wilson, somebody posted on Facebook, like Amos Wilson talked about how a lot of people don't want to confront history because that history is painful. So, Akon, he's just delusional. That's all it is.
Right. Somebody else got some? Or?
How honest we get to be on the show, because I don't even like Vlad, and this one just made me not like him even more. I don't want to get into it yet, but it's almost like he was purposely playing multiple agencies in this conversation. The way he talked about, oh, y'all don't even talk about Africa, slavery over there in Africa. And then he double dribbles and brings it back to say, well, but y'all didn't get reparations. So he's trying to make he's painting two different pictures. You get what I mean? And making it seem like it's a black people versus black people issue versus us actually looking at the results of slavery itself. But we just have to carry on.
Before anybody, you mentioned reparations. He did mention reparations in there. And yeah, we know that the Indians got reparations, Jews got reparations, the Japanese got reparations for being in those camps when the World War was going on. What is y'all perspective on real quick? Oh, we can get back to that question. Well, I'll just throw the question out there and we'll get back in there, because let's just stay on Akon's comment. But we'll come back to that, where I want y'all perspective on why y'all think we hadn't received reparations. Everybody done got reparations, but the African in America. So we'll get back to that. But go ahead, man, T'Challa.
Okay. Number one, Black Americans, African Americans, however we want to identify. We watch this video and we hear a black man, Senegalese, tell us that we need to just move forward when we're sitting over here born in captivity. How do we know we're born in captivity? Well, that's why we got all that African American attached to our name, because that's what we are in this country. So, language. He has the luxury of being where he's from. He has, direct lineage that he knows. He's, but that doesn't make his character equivalent of what we consider an African man, at least over here at Kofi Pie Research Team. Now, It's not to say that I don't practice Iwa Baruru. You know what I'm saying? But the point is, that's not of good character to tell another group of Black people. And we can talk like we back in the day, Koi San days before they linked up with the Koi and one side is San. If they had this kind of mindset, they wouldn't have merged. Or you just need to get over whatever hardships you've been through, no matter how tough they were. Half your people was wiped out by the berries over there. You just need to get over it. I mean, that's just the way I look at it based on my studies and my research. And again, language. The whole interview is in English. We speak in English. So if we really want to get on this, what Black people need to get over, first of all, Black people need to establish an identity, and it starts with language. How do you define yourself? That's why we talk about Iwa Pele, Iwa Riri, and all those type of things. Because it's not to be difficult and different and to try to act like something that we're not. This is exactly who we are. These names that we have mean something. Everybody's name means something. Even if you have your government name is, Jackson, Thomas, Harris, whatever. You have meaning. You know what I'm saying? And in this country, we're not taught that. And so this is the same rhetoric that I grew up hearing. From the Coons, the Samuel Jacksons of the Django's and the, those that were teaching us. You know what I'm saying?
I'll say this. That's all I'm gonna say too. We'll have it to this the ACON. We'll have the discussion of getting over it when that Brinks truck pull up. When they pull the Brinks truck up and we get on the economic level that we supposed to be on, like everybody else, as far as the reparation stuff, we'll have a discussion of moving past it. But until then, we ain't moving past it. I know I ain't moving past it.
And then wait a minute, has he not heard of HR 40? Like, is he not up to date with what's going on with Black people in this country and what we've been fighting for I don't know, the last how many years? This ain't nothing new. So you're right. Yeah. I agree with you. We could talk about moving forward when we can start checking that bag.
So we talking about that bag. What? Because it's a whole bunch of other stuff. I want to unpack in the video, because some of the stuff he said in the video, like I said, the entire video, I don't disagree with the entire video with some of the stuff that he said, especially at the end. But I do, I disagree with that statement. Black people in America need to get over slavery. But and I'm not gonna forget over slavery. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna forget my ancestors. So those people that suffered and went through the horrendous things that they went through. I'm not gonna get over that. Them was my forefathers. So I'm not gonna forget what happened to them. And we must study the past anyway. In order for us to move ahead and stop making the mistakes that our ancestors made, we must go back into the past, retrieve the past, and figure out where that we went wrong at, so we won't make those same mistakes moving forward. So we can't.
Can I interject?
Go ahead.
Can we say they made a mistake?
Huh?
What mistakes did they make? How do you take an oppressed people or people forced into bondage or kidnap people and make arguments for their mistakes that's the results of their condition? That's the reason why the conversation is there. And why the conversation is there is because they can no longer manipulate to put the onus on us for what happened. Hence the word repair. I don't really think money is going to do reparative justice. I'm with T'Challa. You can never repair me for a lifetime of being forced to only identify the world through your language, through your ideas. I could have been something totally, completely different, but I was forced to be this by choices that weren't in my hand. You took me away from having the privilege of our life. How do you repair that? So the conversation needs to be had. on multiple levels. So I really don't understand where that get over it comes from. And no, Kofi, not at the moment. I'm not trying to correct you, but since you know this is a serious conversation, I just had to throw that one out there. That what mistakes did we make? We just talked
Being,
about how great Marcus Garvey was. What's his mistake for saying,
I'm s-
hey, black people deserve? Yeah, yeah. I'm just saying that for the listening audience, not to you, Kofi, just to kind of clear that up so they don't really look for those mistakes versus looking at what the point of this conversation is. Because when we fight this component, we already know they're going to use every tactic they can, even if it's our own ignorance against us. So if we openly go into that arena looking at it like we made mistakes on this conversation, then we've already fucked up our victory because they'll use that. No, we have to go in there and be bold and strong and say, no, what you did was wrong and you need to redeem it. Plain and point, there is no further in that conversation. How do you redeem this? Well, then that's when we get back into power and say, this is what we want. That's just like if somebody stole your wallet, you wouldn't say, well, thief, give me what you want to out of my wallet back. You're going to say, no, give me the whole damn, I want my wallet. I want my IDs, my kids' photos. I want my money, every damn dollar I had. I want all those business cards I'm never gonna call. I want my stuff back. All of it, not a fraction, not some of it, not what you think I can get back in due time. I want all of my stuff back, right? You have to do the same thing with this conversation. And you can't go in there and say, oh, I made the mistake of having my wallet in my pocket. That's how the thief got it. I shouldn't have put it in my back pocket on the subway as I was going to work. That's not your mistake. That was you living life and you could have made it to work and not had to explain to your boss that you late because you realized your wallet was stolen and you called the police and all these other things that affected the rest of your day. Hence redemption. Y'all need to redeem and repair. But if we go in there, and I'm just saying this on the fact that we may have a listening audience out there that is influenced by us, do not go into this conversation with a part of your being on this specific conversation. I'm not talking about us as humans and finding flaws in one another. I'm speaking specifically towards reparations, towards slavery, Jim Crow, and the specifics of the plight of being a black person in the Americas. Don't see a mistake. If you're gonna have the conversation, staying strong and say they was wrong on it, but don't see and don't allow them to use that against you. Even the whole black soul blacks into slavery. Well, y'all was doing it too, or you profit from slavery because they play those games with you. You might have been in bondage and had a job for your master that he pays you crumbs for, which he's supporting not just one, not just two, but multiple homes, damn near the whole state. Damn near good enough to run for matter of fact, he runs for president and he wins based off your forced labor. But you might have got paid a couple of little trinkets along the way. Oh, but you got paid too? I don't see the wrong in this. Where's the problem? You have to see the war they play and the tricks they play. I don't want to get too long with it. I didn't mean to do all that, but I'm gonna go to mute. I'm gonna force myself to mute. But please don't walk
okay.
away,
Well,
audience, with that mistake word.
what would you go in to demand? What would you go in to demand? Because I know most when we talk about reparation, when we go on in and we want them to repair, right? You said repair. So what should we go in and demand? You saying more than just money? Because I know when we talk about reparations, I'm with you. It ain't just about the money, but I know most of the time when we mention reparations, them giving us reparations, we want money, we want cash, we want cash. So what you suggest that if we was on the front stage and we was able to go in and make our demands, what in your opinion, what you think we need to demand for?
Well, with that one, it starts with something that I honestly just I have to accept they can't give us, and that is time. We need time to assess and we need time to develop. We need time to process. Like in order to get that black Wakanda that we dream of, it's going to take time to even get it built. We got to gather the materials and all kind of other things that me, you, Chris, Sutekh, brother Shawn, and all the extended family. I can't name everybody. All of us on a whole may not even get to see in our lifetime. We just hear the words. So when does the repair begin for us and our children? And they can't give us that time necessarily. And if we think they're going to hand over the keys to the White House, quote unquote, give us equal power, if y'all think they about to share a living room with us, you out your mind. Their whole war themselves amongst themselves is a quest for power. So they not going to relinquish none of that. Absolutely none. And whatever they give you, they're going to want a piece of the power in it. If they give you a black NBA, they want to get paid from it. If they give you a black TV station, they want to get paid from it. And if they do not get paid from it, they will not give it to you. Don't that still sound like slavery? Don't we still have these celebrities saying, man, I want to do so much, but I'm not allowed to?
It's like crop sharing.
So it's not about them giving us money. Remember, they make the money. 60% of the goddamn wealth they was making came from cotton. 60% of that dollar bill all y'all chasing is made from cotton. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. It's just a new way of looking at it. But the format is still the same. And when you deal with capitalism, you just have to look at what it is. Get as much as you can with giving up the least. And they playing a capitalism war now on a global scale. Do you think they giving up any kind of global power? And we know we was having this conversation in private. The real war is not about the money, it's about the power. The money is just a means to control the power. It's just something to put in the way. Let them fish that shit out, and let's stay focused on the power. So if they're gonna give us something, they have to give us power. They're not gonna give you that. Hence, what we really have to dive into. Why are we saying we need to be repaired? Because even our fucking desires are predicated on what they desire. The fancy brick homes, the nice cars, the $1 million bank account, the wife and 2 kids and a picket fence. We want the American dream. We don't want an African goddamn day just to wake up and see what it's like to, have your feet in a river stream and hunt for your food throughout the day and figure out what to eat and just be in one with nature, with everybody want a hashtag. You don't want that. You don't want to start from scratch. You don't want it. Remember, all of our cultures are, backwards. They don't want it. They want update. You ain't going nowhere if you ain't got Wi-Fi. So are you really even ready to leave what they built alone yet? And if the only thing you want to do is mirror what they have, it goes right back into why they ended segregation. Because you was making the argument we supposed to be separate but equal. That's what the law says. So if you're not going to give us our equal schools, allow us into your schools because our babies deserve that equal education. So pay up, white man. And they got bold with it. And they started calling it for what it is. Do you know what they did? Instead of giving you the money, they opened up the goddamn doorways for them to come into their schools, remove their tops, which is, we call upper class now. They go private. We sit there and we have to figure this shit out on our own. But what are they going to say? We gave you what you wanted. Racism don't exist no more. My daughter goes to school with your kids and they're friends. What are you talking about? What racism? But they don't talk about when your daughter goes to school, she hears about her hair being different, her body looking different. They don't talk about all the times you get called to come and visit your son at school because the teacher is terrified of him. And all those underlying issues that we still deal with that affect us on a mass whole. So it's not no get over it. And having that money to say, oh, well, I'm okay, You know, your middle class celebrities with your millions and you think you're rich and you just like your brother said, you want to stroke your egos and say you're okay. How dare you speak for the masses of us and still try to sell the struggle to us? You deserve the middle finger for that because you false flagging. Don't talk about how you help. And I'm not trying to attack nobody individually, but if you're going to speak for all of us, speak for all of us. And a lot of us are starving, a lot of us are struggling, and it is because we actually can't get the job. We actually can't get the support we need to get on our feet. And they use that against you. How many brothers would have a job if they passed the requirement of they had a car, they had an address, they had a working telephone? Oh, you can't work here. You don't even have an email, but you don't have the Wi-Fi. And you can't get the Wi-Fi because you don't have the job. These are the games they play. So when we ask for something, we have to ask for the one thing that everybody should be entitled to, and that's to live your life. And most of us feel like we really ain't living life. How do you give that to somebody, Kofi?
Yeah,
Hence why we say white privilege, because they don't have to deal with this. That's the real white privilege. They don't even have to think about this. That's why they don't get it. That's why we have to constantly rub this in their face. Look what you did to me. It's no different than when you fuck up with one of you, not one of you, but with your wife or, you know, your spouse. They're going to rub that in your face that you hurt me until they forget it.
Right.
They may have forgiven you, you get what I mean? But you hurt them.
Yeah.
You got to rub that in their face. You hurt us. Ain't no get over it. You hurt us.
Yeah. You made
we
like
seen
some...
it this year. Go ahead.
No,
I mean,
just...
if y'all keep letting me talk, you know, I'm gonna go into each thought and then just
no,
go.
you can
mute yourself.
Yeah, no, because he made some good points. Like he made some good points. And what I'm saying, and I'm gonna let y'all go in because I'm gonna fall back. Like he made some good points. Like, you know, like I said, when we talk about reparations, and you know, most of us we talk about money, right? You know, most of us we talk about we want to live like they live. You know, we want to live. They got their standards set, so we want to live like them according to their standards. So when you made some point, you made some great points when you and this is another reason why I feel like when we talk about reparations and we talk about the money and us getting money, right? A lot of us is not financially savvy. We don't know a whole lot about finances at all. We don't know a whole lot about credit lines. We don't know a whole lot about that, right? So my thing is with the issues like with the money, like you brought up some points that I always think about is even if they did give us some reparations, right? They gonna get it back because we want to live just like they live. You know what I'm saying? We want the fancy suits. We want the $300-400 suits. We want the Ferrari. You know, we want the Maybach. You know, we want the picket fence. You know, excuse me, the house on the hill. You know what I'm saying? We want to wear the high-end brands. We want the Versace. We want
go out on the lake.
You go Gucci. Well, you know, that's rare. That's rare the songs going down on the lake.
House on the hill, boat on the lake.
Yeah,
boat on the lake. Come out of mute for a second. I'll go back to jail. But do y'all have any Negro pie?
Yeah, so I'm saying, you know, even with that, you know, we have to demand more than money because we're gonna end up giving whatever they give us. We're gonna end up giving it back because we want to live just like they live.
Okay,
like
now let me ask you this, Kofi. Let's be pragmatic here.
Okay, go ahead.
Outside of I want you to be pragmatic with. Outside of talking about dollars and cents, what will we bring to the table? Okay, money. All right, we already know about that. Outside of that, what will we be bringing to the table as far as reparations?
We need both shorelines. You need a piece of both shorelines. We need our brothers and sisters in Africa to get shipping ports in Africa. We need our brothers and sisters in the Americas to get an equal access to them shorelines. Chicago, Cleveland.
So we ask for land. We ask for land.
You need them, but more than land, you need them shipping ports. And why do you need them shipping ports? because you need to have a connection back home. Global expansion is taking place. So you need them shipping ports right out the gate that needs to be in the contract. Why do I say that? What was the first form of reparations that they false flagged us with? What was it? Come on, somebody. I'll
Land
give
was
the
the land.
audience.
Was it
I'll give the
land?
acres and a
audience.
mule.
I'll
Yeah,
give the
the land.
audience. Somebody
Right.
just said it.
Yeah,
So
it was the
what was
land.
it?
It was 40 acres
Okay,
and a
it was
mule.
Sherman's special
Right.
field order, right? And we were supposed to get what? All the abandoned what? Coastline regions of the war that nobody wanted. But what did we know about them lands? Rights. What do you have when you got that shoreline to you? Access to what? What the world still uses more than anything, the damn ocean to ship your goods. When you put that element out there that we want what you already promised us, we don't care nothing about that trickery of it was temporary. Okay, that was for these specific groups because everybody will say, well, when we go back and examine it, this was only for the brothers who fought for the Union and their families. It was for a small group. Okay, give it to them. And we'll have a group huddle and we'll put the pressure on them that, hey, man, y'all got that shipping dock. We the ones that made it happen. Give my nephew a job down there and do them right. But now we have something to work with. And as the Kofi Pi research team gets in touch with them and finds out how much it is to send our books there, we network with our brothers and sisters over there to make sure we getting the culture right. And we fuse the two and we do it step by step. The one good thing that we have about this is not going back and analyzing us. Let's go back and analyze the damn world because that's the most fundamental thing for us to do because they had enough time to sit back and study everybody now. We have to study them. We have to study China. We have to study where all these goods are. If we're going to talk globalism, we got to know where these damn goods come from and what they are, how much they cost, what you need them for. Don't we talk about the pseudoscience and all these herbs and all these other things? If we don't know what this world even has to offer, how are we going to compete in the race if we don't know which direction to go? So you start with them shorelines and you start with making those bridges of connections and you
But do you
network
think that's
in
practical
small
though?
circles and you let that branch out just like each family. You can
Do you
go to
think
the
that's
mama and father and say, mother and father, what do you need? And if
do
the
you think
children
that's
ain't going
practical
there to
though?
speak, do what now?
I said, do
Yeah,
you think
it
that's
just takes
practical?
time. Just takes time. You do it in 50-year quarters.
No, I'm saying you think that that's practical that they're gonna give up the shorelines when you just stated that that's a form of giving up power is giving up the shoreline.
Well, you start where you got. You start with the Gullah people themselves saying they tired of giving up their damn lands and all those fragrant excuse me fraudulent bank ordeals that's going on. They literally still in those people's own economic system. How can you go and say our social agreements of having a social contract on these lands is not valid? My grandma said, as long as somebody in the family was here, that this land is always for the family. How can you backdoor me and sell it because this cousin said so, but that's not what we agreed to on this end? And you did this out of state on top of that, and you use their laws and their powers to steal from people who don't have what? A network to outreach and say, hey, we need help. But when they make the outcry, and we can go into the social media and the celebrity, and a good, good thing for me to throw out to anybody listening, you have to remember that celebrity is an American invention, and it's a new invention. Started from the 1920s, roughly. Before that, you had no celebrities. So when we talk about why do black people feel like celebrities are good for us, what was the original celebrities in the black community? Your griots, your preachers, and your teachers, or your people of let's say a noble rank, your kings, your chiefs, and etc. You had a structure that you did adhere to. They manipulated that, as we all know. It's hard to prove, but it's right in your face. Instead of giving you one of our brilliant sisters to idolize as a child, you got Nicki Minaj now. You have a celebrity. It's a black celebrity. Why are you mad? She's on every TV station in the world and she's rich. But we saying, look what she's selling. And she just told my daughter it's okay to call herself a bitch. So when I see her, I'm slapping Nicki Minaj. Y'all can get mad at me all you want, but she fucked my daughter's head up. So I got to see her. But what you're not doing is paying homage to, let me pull just Queen, not Queen, Dr. Mahat, a sister that deserves for my daughters to see in the same likeness, because that's what our culture adheres to, is the beautifulness of our humanity. You making us hate each other. The coolest thing for any man on this panel right now to be is a fucking beast. But they beat our grandparents with horse leashes and whips and called them beast. When we were screaming, we was human. Now we don't want to be human. We want to be savages. You think they're not going to use that against us? Do you think they're not going to say y'all had a black president and for 8 years y'all was silent twerking and
so
World
look,
Star was the biggest thing in the fucking world? Sorry to cuss.
so this Vasa. So this is what I say
What's
about
up,
language.
boss? Mm-hmm.
This is what I say about language, because we can say we know that we need the proper reparations and everything else. We know that. So again, why do we still not push ourselves to completely have our own from scratch? Why do we not push ourselves to, because you're only ever going to equate yourself because that's all you know. You're not looking outside your surroundings to see what you're not really researching, because we know that conversation with the elderberries fighting the coronavirus. So there's layers to that, and that goes from studying nature and being able to label things on your accord, not on some accord that when you read it in a textbook or when you hear about it, you don't want to hear a teacher teach it to you because it's in a form you don't want to receive. A lot more of us are not doctors, lawyers, etc., not only because of the money and we don't have the funds to be able to get adequate education. We hear those words and we get discouraged. And so a lot of us are unaware of the HR 40 bill, and we are unaware of just our own history here in terms of what we're fighting for and what we've been fighting for since they took the shackles and chains off. So being educated involves literacy and wanting to read, wanting to write yourself, because you want to actually have your voice in the world of what you think the world should be. And I feel like we still having the same conversation in the same language, metaphorically, literally, whatever way you want to take that.
Yeah. I agree with you. Let me throw this out to y'all real quick, just real quick on the where do we start in the time thing. In the 1500s, I forgot what exact king it is, y'all, so forgive me. The king of Spain puts out a royal decree that no, pull the plug. We can't do that right now. They was trying to build the Panama Canal way back then. That's how sophisticated mankind is. And they could have done it. They knew for a fact they can do it. Just one thing that stopped them from doing the Panama Canal in the 1500s, all the way up until they actually got it completed. Do y'all know what it was? It's one specific thing. And this is what the king and all his advisors, time after time, reported as the one thing they cannot build that canal for. African men fighting in that region. Not fighting each other. Wasn't no black on black crime. It was, you were so powerful that they was terrified that in that region, if they do open up that canal, that you will have access to control the damn world. Do y'all hear what I'm saying? Yeah. If you control those shipping ports, you control the world. You already do it. You got people in Hong Kong, in Korea, in Japan right now saying "nigga" the same way we make fun of them in kung fu flicks because of hip hop. Now they saying nigga and all that. They want to be like the image they see on TV. They want to be Michael Jordan. They want to be R. Kelly. They want to be Tupac. They want to be Jay-Z. They want to be Beyonce's, Mariah Carey's, Michael Jackson's, James Brown's. Who the fuck wants to be Elvis? Who wants to be Justin Timberlake? Who wants to be George Washington or Abraham Lincoln or any other bullshit they have to stand on to sell you? They don't have anything to influence the world, but you do. So when you ask, where do we start with who you are. When you
Also,
take
don't
off
be
the
hating on
shackles,
Justin Timberlake, man. You know you
now
was
man,
you know you be jabbed.
Timberland did his damn thing with Timberlake. I will never knock what they produce. Timberland does his damn thing with him, man. They make some good music. But my point is, who's checking up on Timberlake? Everybody knows the little golden boy right now is Chris Brown. He can do everything right and he can do no wrong. And even when he does every fucking thing wrong, it's all the way right. Chris Brown rules the world right now. Not Justin Timberlake. I'm sorry. So once again, you see that connection of you do have a dominant impact on this world. And as soon as we stop saying that we don't, that's the war over itself. The next stage is let's hit this. Every war has the politics of it. Hey man, we know y'all doing these strawberries and stuff, and y'all grow y'all's herbs and all this. We get that. And I apologize, my cows trampled over here. But all them damn berries y'all gave my uncle and got him intoxicated that night, what y'all call it, wine, is why his goofy ass stumbled over here. So before we go hand to hand, we need to at least address that. We human beings. We are intelligent people. That's why I asked the question, who is the Black Einstein? Because every last one of us need to be able to answer that. T'Challa, you made a comparison to me. I think you said Aristotle. Bro, that makes you Plato, because I learned from you. We have to see that amongst ourselves. That's how you get your reparations once you get you back. Once you get you back, you don't give a fuck what they have. Act like y'all ain't never seen a picture of a little black child over there battling a goddamn tank with rocks. Cause he know in his mind, if I make that connection, I hit this bitch, it's over. The bravery is there. The courage is there. Your mind is there. Express it. Hold it. That goes to every last one of our women first and our baby girls. Don't get sucked up by none of this. Be who you want to be. If that is the privilege we get to throw out about quote unquote being an American citizen, is this one thing that we do have to unpack one day? What is freedom? But if we have that freedom of choice, express it to the fullest degree and say, okay, I'm going to be black and represent being black and only be black. And it's okay to do that. We're the only group of people that get hated for doing that because there's one thing about us that the other ones don't seem to have for some reason. And that's a love for total humanity. And that's not a mistake for you doing that. If you want to love everybody, love everybody. That makes you better than most of these goddamn haters, right? Being a hater used to be an insult. We making that a compliment. And we just calling it what? I'm just keeping it real. But you ain't doing nothing but hating, just running your mouth. While people go out here, wake up every day and they do their damn best to put smiles on people's faces. May not be in the way we want it, but every time grandma came in there and made sure you was covered up with a blanket in the summertime, and you're like, damn, grandma, I'm not gonna get no cold. Stop. It's summertime. Ain't nobody gonna get a flu, grandma. Stop. It's too damn hot. She was giving you a love and tender care that you needed, right? These people exist. So it's not like we need too much. As long as we got each other, we're gonna get through it. I don't know what the hell Joser and all them needed to build the pyramids, but they built the shit because they felt like it. If a kid asks me why did the Egyptians do it? Because they felt like it. That's why. Something compelled them to do it and they did it. Same reason T'Challa's on the drum, same reason Kofi does this every day and calls us and cusses us out and then says he's going to sleep. Because that's what he feels and he should be able to express it. The beauty about it is what? We see each other as family. So when we express ourselves, what? Don't we feel like we're alive and we love it? We don't want it to end. We want it to come again. Life becomes that much better. Didn't they do this in front of campfires over the kill? After the war? After making love, don't you hold your girl and talk shit? You feel good, right?
I roll over and go to sleep.
Yeah, you probably go and dye your hair and dance in the mirror with baby oil on. Kofi probably on one.
Oh,
Asking
man.
weird shit at 4. Baby, you want one of these sandwiches?
You had something, Chris. I know you.
So what's I mean, even building off of what Vasa was talking about, I think we got to start at. I mean, first they would have to leave Africa, like concerning us, because everybody would have to have their own terms, each group. But I mean, when we look at, like, I'd even argue, based on what reparations is supposed to be. I mean, I think some groups got some compensation, but they didn't really get all the way reparations, because I feel like had they gotten reparations, I think we wouldn't even be in America technically, because the natives, they got to still fight, like they still got to fight, like a freedom struggle. A lot of poor Jewish people, they still got to fight for their freedom. A lot of people still fighting over Palestine. So in terms of reparations, I mean, at the start, you had to end, capitalism. You had to end it completely. You'd have to remove the military from Africa. You would have to, they'd have to, like, it wouldn't just be enough to give us money. I mean, I think the money would help our agenda, but the whole system would have to end. So it's not enough to just say, here's some land, no. Not only would, we get back some money, that'd be one thing, but we'd have to get back control over all of the natural resources. So it's not, not only that, all of their cultural institutions would have to leave Africa. They'd have to go. Like like whatever religion they would pray to, we would turn that into a community center or a factory or a temple, or like an African temple or something. Like all of the stuff that they've created would just have to go, period. So, starting from scratch would be, we would have the time not only to think, to invent, to create, but we would have to have complete control over the new society that we're creating. So it wouldn't be enough to just get some breadcrumbs, because even if you look up the various groups that got something, the Japanese, they never got anything for Nagasaki and Hiroshima. The Vietnamese never got anything for, not even from France, I don't think, not even from, the United States. So I think complete liberation would just have to be, for one, they'd have to go back to Europe or whatever other lands, and we would, and it wouldn't even just be one African government, it would be several African governments. And I would even go back to having the various villages coexist, and then we could modernize that, and then you eventually would see a Wakanda manifest. So for me, and even going back to like T'Challa's point, the languages, we would have to implement African languages. And they wouldn't, I would have a thing where they couldn't even go to Africa. They couldn't go to South America. They may have to just stay in Europe. I think we would have to start over and implement African culture in every form of society. And then we would have to fix the planet. We have to, fix the ecosystem. We have to get rid of everything that's destructive. You know, it couldn't just be accommodating various people, because you know they don't accommodate anything. That's African. So I just think it's real important, you know, for us to make sure that, you know, reparations, I mean, it's not something that they'll give us, it's something that we'll have to impose. You know, it may start in the islands in terms of gaining power, it may start in America, might start on the continent, uh, it might start wherever, but as we collectively build power, then it'll spread, and then eventually we'll have a country, we'll have a region, we may even have a hemisphere, and then we build from there. But it can't just be reduced to um, charity or just compensation, because what happens is you end up like Native Americans. I mean, look at their quality of life. You know, they technically got a portion of reparations, but I mean, the most important part of reparations is you got to stop what caused reparations. So, you know, they would have to leave. Like, I think a lot of people can't imagine, like, it wouldn't be no more church, wouldn't be no more mosque, wouldn't be no more synagogue. That would, I mean, that would have to be turned into, it could be turned into a video game room for all I care. You know, it could be turned into a Dave and Buster's. I'm saying, like, whatever we create, it would have to be on our terms. And then even Vasa talking about time. We would even change how we deal with time. We will be working on our own time. And everybody else would have to start to move to our rhythm, our beat, instead of us trying to catch up with them. So I just think everything would have to be reconstructed, and it would be like a true renaissance. And I mean, how we do that, it's going to have to be a multi-generational struggle. But I just think one thing we got to get comfortable with is that we would have to replace everything they have, even in Africa, and just start with our African foundation and just build from there.
So yeah, you kind of answer like where I was gonna go, like with a question. You answer some of it because you and T'Challa, y'all mentioned from scratch, and I agree with you wholeheartedly when you say they will have to go to they will have to leave. Capitalism will have to end, and they will have to leave. I totally agree with that. And you mentioned some things as far as, like I said, as far as scratch, like, you know, what would we start off with, you know, our own languages and stuff like that. What else will we have to do, like far as with scratch? Because I mean, when we saying for scratch, y'all talking about come up with our own ideals, and we well, basically what I'm saying is, okay, most of us don't.
I can elaborate on what I mean exactly in terms of when I say from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I like to get into various subjects of science, various subjects of mathematics, and, you know, just to try to up my knowledge base on the subjects and really understand, like, you know, where the world as it is, from like what literally is in front of me, not what I want it to be, not what I want that the black man created this first type of idea about it. I just want to know this thing purely. And so what I stress about language is that when you label something, then your concept is coming out of the sound that you associate that thing with what it represents and what it does for you in nature. So, for instance, part of our language, first of all, 95% of communication is nonverbal. So the gestures and how we act, I could walk into a gas station and have my chest sticking out like I'm straight bulletproof. And the wrong dude at the gas station could be having the wrong type of bad day just that day, and decide, you know what, man, I'm finna take what he got just because he walking up in here like that. That's how it go. You could not be walking like that and it still happen. But in certain areas, chances are, if you're walking around a certain way, so your posture, your behavior. So what I mean from scratch is not using the same even terms to define us. We're not gonna say we even black or dark anymore, because we know the root of those words is not anything positive for us.
That's
It
right.
never has been positive.
That's right.
So I don't mean like, I want to clarify, and then I'll go back to mute. I don't mean that everybody has to go on a multilingual endeavor like me and the rest of the people who are interested in any aspect of language. That's not what I mean. I mean, if we're gonna speak, because people are just not gonna learn another language, you know, however older they are, if they don't feel that that's what they want to do. No difference than if you don't want to play sports, if you don't want to go into culinary arts, if you don't want to get into fitness, you're just not going to do what you're not interested in. So I mean to say we need to take some more of the terms other than the word nigga and create some more endearing terms for some words. Start to infuse a little bit of African languages into what we speak. Have a couple words here and there to replace some of the negative words, especially, you know, you cussing your mate out, cussing your better half out in an argument, or you can replace those words with positive words in the African language to uplift your mate when you're arguing and everything like that. Just little small ideas like that.
Yeah,
Kind of like banjo.
And even to kind of build off of what T'Challa was saying, like me and my girl was talking about getting off of saying comrade and using a lot of the European terminology that a lot of the past revolutionaries were using. So starting to call each other various African terms, I think, is important, so we can have that psychological break from our oppressors, whether they be white, Arab, Asian, whatever. I think another thing in terms of starting from scratch, it wouldn't be dismissing our African foundation. I think it would just be starting from our African foundation. But we can be creative with that. You know what I'm saying? So it wouldn't have to be like cosplay where we just try to recreate what happened in the past, like verbatim, but we would just start there and then build off of it. And then, we would have our own type of technology. We'd have like our own type of universities. We could determine how we educate ourselves. And then, I mean, it would be a lot, it would make a lot more sense because you would have so much diversity just within Africa. So it wouldn't be about, oh man, I gotta have this one uniform African culture. No, everybody can express themselves, create, do their own thing and work within the collective. And then it would be nice to have the various African governments and people coexist, share resources, exchange stuff. And then a lot of stuff would slow down and people would feel a lot better because, they wouldn't feel like you got to listen to this one person, it would be more so like, just creating and developing and being in tune with the other tribes, the other groups. And then another thing, we'd have to get rid of the colonial boundaries. We would have to set up Africa in a way that we can protect it from the people we just took everything back from. Because that's one thing, like a lot of our people got to prepare for. You got to be prepared for the response. A lot of time we'll be prepared to win, but it's one thing to be good on offense, but you got to be good on defense. You got to be able to be prepared to the various steps they're going to take to try to destroy everything you took. So they'll do everything from destroying the land to make it infertile, from using nuclear weapons. There's all kinds of stuff they'll do. Because I was watching this thing called Concerning Violence. It's about a book by Frantz Fanon, and he was saying that the colonizer would rather burn his car up. He would rather destroy his car than give it to a slave. So they thinking with that type of mentality. So even after we win liberation, after we get, because I think we would have to win liberation and then impose reparations. And I think after that happens, we'd have to be prepared. And then even how we organize the land, we have to figure out a way to organize it so that we could protect ourselves and not be vulnerable to their response. Because, white pathology makes it to where they have a relentless thirst for violence. So I think it's just important that we organize for victory and sustaining the victory, and then allow the various African cultures within the overall African culture to thrive. And then I think a lot of people can still be themselves and not feel like freedom is having to submit to like this one uniform way of being, but it could just be us being ourselves and then building on that, and then we'll create stuff we never even thought we could make, you know?
What about what about therapy, man? Do y'all think, cause you saying, and I agree with everything you're saying about we'll have to be on the defense too. We'll have to be able to protect those different borders and so forth. So and I'm saying therapy is because a lot of us, we hate the conditions we in, but we love the people that put us in those conditions. So we will put up a fight against each other before we put up a fight against those who oppressed us. And a lot of times, we're not ready to go to war, man. We're not ready to go to war, man. We not, a lot of us, man, I ain't finna die behind it. We rather conform, you know what I'm saying, to what's going on than fighting for what's right, or even dying behind the cause for our babies to be able to exist in a better world. So will we have to have will we have to go through some type of therapy?
Yeah, I mean,
Absolutely.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
And that's
Yep, it's
part of
called education. I'm gonna
that's
start there.
you're right. That's
Let me have it, T'Challa. That therapy you talking about, Kofi, if you control the education of the next generation, how do they find themselves going through the trials and tribulations that we had to taste? When they know who they are, and they know they're not a slave, and they know they're not oppressed, and they know they have equal opportunity, what therapy do they need in regards to this subject matter? Do mankind on a mass whole need therapy? Yeah, you need therapy and counsel. I don't care what field and what art and what science that you are in. You're going to need a therapist, which is your friends, your family, your community, and so on and so on. That's just a part of it. Your counsel. If you're president, your advisors better be your best damn friends. If you rich, your accountant better be your best damn friend. You can see that pattern of a teacher relationship being there. That's what solves all the goddamn what? Headaches. That's why authors have what? Editors to avoid the headaches, right? Doctors have nurses, so on and so on, right? So the therapy will be there once you have your own structural way of educating and expressing yourself to begin with. The real reason we, the ones who need that therapy, is we have to get that idea of oppression out our minds, that feeling that we can't do so many things. Or if it
hey
was only
Vafa.
like this, I would have been able to do that. Go ahead, T'Challa.
Okay, so now I can speak my piece. I open my mic to say that what you just said already exists in the form of what we do here in the community with the drum and dance scene. We Iodeli Drum and Dance has initiation classes, segments. That's how that education is run over there. Those babies are in somebody's Shabazz school, or even if they in Hyde Park Academy, they get in their culture in Hyde Park Academy. We got sisters that's been there for the last umpteen years doing their thing all around the city. So that the movement is already in place, actually. It's not like we'll have to wait for some indefinite period of time right now if we speak like that we're not going to get what we're going to get because things will be set up when this happened. No, things are actually already going. The Black Wall Street coming back is already existing over the web. Like, there's plenty of Black people that's doing business and getting money with each other. We may or may not be connected to those circles as much as we'd like to be financially, but they exist. So I don't like to speak in like, oh, we got to wait for all of these things to get the wheel rolling. The snowball has been rolling for so long. It's the equivalent of a deep sea creature being unaware of certain surface insects that crawl the surface of the earth. The box jellyfish ain't got nothing to do with the fire ant. And so when we speak like oh, we got to wait for this to happen and wait for that to happen. Certain aspects of it in certain scales, yes. But the movement is already going on. Some of us ain't ready to fight, but some of us are. Some of us have been so ready to fight because we already been fighting with the near-death experiences. You know what I'm saying? Not that anybody on the panel hasn't been. I'm saying us all. We've all been through something. Being Black and being in this thing. And so that means that we never stop fighting and moving forward. So it's not like we got to start from scratch on that end.
I think we definitely need therapy, bro. We definitely need therapy. Like Brother Robert Rand said in the chat, we've been traumatized. We still have, a lot of us still have a big plantation mentality. We see a lot of crab in a bucket mentality with us. You know, not trying to put a negative stigma on us. I'm just being as honest as possible. This is what I see with a lot of us. We still, and even I'm guilty of this sometimes. I'm starting to use the word less and less. We still call each other niggas, you know what I mean? And we know where that word came from. It's just as bad as saying black or anything else, you know what I mean? And we can say we put a positive spin on it and or whatever, but it's literally the same word. There's no difference between ER and an A, but a Southern drawl. That's it. So, I mean, we definitely need therapy, not just education, but we need actual therapy. We got to stop thinking that there's something wrong with that, like thinking that's for white people. Like, our mind is fucked up. We've been through hundreds of years of this. You know what I mean? My ancestors were thrown over the edge, overboard in the Atlantic Ocean. They was tied to trees and whipped. You know what I mean? They were raped. They suffered, men and women. They suffered unimaginable horrors. So no, I will never let slavery go, regardless, reparations or no reparations. This is something that we always need to remember and we never need to forget. We don't need to, you know, if the situation, if these people take steps to try to rectify the situation, then cool. But I will never forget. I will never forget. It's no amount of money, it's no amount of education, it's no amount of nothing that can make me forget and let it go. These is my ancestors. And not only are those our ancestors, this is a process, like the brother said, this is a process that we might not be going through the exact same thing, but we still going through this type of discrimination. You know what I mean? And we still get the kickback from it. So no, I will never let it go. I will never forget. I will never let my future children forget or tell them to let their future children forget. We need to always know so we'll never go back, never again. And as far as reparations, as far as the therapy, rather, I think we need it. We definitely need it. It's something we can't even try to make no excuse to try to make no metaphor for it. We need therapy. We need it. And that was a great question because I definitely agree. We've been all messed up in the head. And we need to try to take steps to correct that. Because even if we get some money, like you said, you know, that goes along with us having some type of education that has to do with economics as well. Even if we get some money, we're gonna just blow through it. We're gonna give it right back to them. We want to be consumers so bad that we're gonna give it right back to them. So, I mean, yeah, it's definitely steps that we need to take. It's not just reparations in the form of cash and let that be that. That ain't gonna be enough for me. Good thing they ain't let me try to make no bill or no plan for no reparations because they would have looked at me like I'm crazy, bro. What, you really think you finna get all this?
Me too, bro. Because I'm hood and I gotta hold it down for our hood brothers and sisters. And I mean but that by struggling. Everybody, I don't care what you make, all black people get a platinum black EBT card with Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben on the front making beautiful ass meals. And you get an unlimited goddamn account of free food stamps for the rest of your goddamn life. So every Sunday we can have those family gatherings that we once had when our food was free and shared amongst each other. Going somewhere with this. In order for us to not give it all back, do you know the one thing that we have to stop when they give it to us? And the only reason we're going to give it back, it's not to be like them. It's because we have to compete against each other in order to still get the equality through each other's eyes. We got to be the best on the team for that white coach. We got to be the smartest in the classroom for that white teacher. Still, when you competing against your own and know that's your biggest competitor, where's all your animosity and anguish and focus of attack going? Now what do? Because you have to prove yourself as a man in your community. This is real world, right? Aggression is a part of thing of proving yourself in manhood, right? In nature. When you do it amongst yourselves because you know you're the biggest threats, your Muhammad Ali's, Jack Johnson's, Mayweather's, you know how much harder you have to fight your own self is what I'm getting to. And this goes back into the therapy itself becomes the education and the programming of the mind. Yes, we need it. How you give it is implemented through that education of self. If we knew who we was, then we not buying Jordans no more to impress each other in the club. We creating our own pair by knowing how to do it. And everybody's gonna know when they stepping in that T'Challa gonna be playing something live on the drum, barefoot and in his damn sandals, getting it in on the drum. Don't care about the shoes. He just doing the music, but we know who he is. And it all goes into that. Right now, the only thing they give us to identify each other with, especially ourselves, I'm not going to say it's the only thing out there, but the majority of what our everyday brothers and sisters get is a programming at the hands of other people. Even your celebrities talk about what? It's hard to make it in Hollywood because we got white writers trying to write for a black perspective. But who are they writing to? That's the part everybody misses. They're not making them shows for you. They're making shows that sell to them. That white people can have the right to be inquisitive on black culture. We never said you couldn't have that. But you don't get to be the authority of black culture. How dare you come and sell our stuff, make profits off of it, and oppress us even more by condemning us for selling the very products that you selling? You tell the kids on every damn new TV station to be a thug or a stripper, and then when they 12 years old and they act like the images on the TV, you pull your goddamn guns out on them in the middle of the street and shoot them and justify it by saying they was acting like the images on the TV and you were scared. But how about them kids being scared, thinking that's what the world is? Everybody's a gangster and every woman is just this. And it terrifies them and it creates that shell of a man that needs the therapy that we're speaking on right now, because he feel like he can't be himself. All he wanted to do was please his mama and please his father and make good grades, but he wasn't allowed to. He had to be something that he didn't want to be. How many of the real G's out there say, man, I didn't want this. I really wanted to do this, but I ain't had no other choice, right? How many sisters on them poles is not doing it because she think the shit is cute? She felt like she didn't have no other choice. So you still be, I mean, Kofi, do you want to go to work?
Hell no.
I get on Kofi all the time. All right, boss, I'm going to the plantation. Stop that. You got a job. You got other brothers and sisters who would kill to have a job, Kofi. I know what you mean, but don't say it. Just please don't do it. See that yourself as a man with a job, because we do need that. We need that sense of pride. We need to understand there's a big difference in between having jobs and having employment. Being a parent is a job. It's not employment. And that's okay to say. My job is to what? Educate the people. I'm a teacher. I don't care about getting money. I'm not saying that's who I am. I'm just saying that's a position. My employer is this. I work for Harvard Law School or whatever it may be. I work for the Kofi Paisa research team. That's your employer. But who you are, you define. Goes back to what T'Challa keeps saying. Your language. You brought up the word nigger and how we shouldn't say it. But we don't give credit to our own self. Still to this day, I tried to throw out banjo hoping somebody would catch on. African word, African instrument, but the first thing we think is white people, hillbillies playing the damn banjo. That's the first image we get. But it's an African word and it's an African instrument playing African music. And guess what that did? That created your American culture. You are there everywhere in this story. You had the hardest part and you want to be acknowledged for that. There's nothing wrong with that. That was a hell of a role for you all to have to play. The whole world sees it. There is no other story like this. Hence the title of the chapter in Spears of the Mossi, Africa, the world's greatest victim. Why? Because through this study, we understand the importance of humanity, things like liberty, social equality. Who else can you study better than us to understand these things? If you want to talk about poverty, who's the first people you look at? Don't nobody look at no goddamn Eskimos and think poverty. But I mean, what igloo was selling other ice to the other igloo? Do you think of it that way? But when they say anything bad, you still think yourself. But you don't think, damn, everybody is trying to be like you. And then when we get all the pseudos who try to get the psychological thing going and get the uplift, what do? We act like white people and immediately condemn them. We end a sick war. I get it. It is psychological. That's the one thing we have to understand about all aspects of war. And I'm gonna get this to all the brothers on the team. You know all this is a gimmick for one reason, one true reason. It's one thing to know about America. It's always going to protect its interests. That's the number one go-to in their domain. It's protect self-interest, right? When it comes to war, if your leaders, your generals, whoever it is that's speaking and influence you is not taking the charge, meaning they on the battlefield, that's not the general, that's not the captain, that's not the president, that's not the king. That's the first one sacrificing himself so none of y'all have to go through the battle. That's the king, that's the general. Number one rule when you got that position is protect as many as you can. Not sacrifice, not all these glorified goddamn battles that they keep telling you about. They still talking about Spartans and all the damn bloodshed from that. That's sickness. That's a true sickness. They need therapy, not you. We can't get past grandma's recipe of some greens. Who I wish Big Mama was. We can't get past that memory. They refuse to let go of bloodshed. You're not the one that needs the therapy. You're the one that just needs to take the authority. Take authority of yourself and watch how the rest plays out. What Akon said about get over the past, no, don't get over it, but be the first generation, be the first person, be the first man, the first woman, the first child to take authority over the fact you want something greater than this. You don't have to be rich to do that. You don't have to be rich to go outside and say, how you doing today, brother or sister? You don't have to be rich to go outside and say, Mister, I appreciate what you did for me. Ma'am, I appreciate you holding the door for me. It's supposed to be the other way around. It's not hard to be a good person. If that's what you want to be and you want to be happy, be that. And by you being yourself and being free and being happy, those around you will do the same. Because one thing about love that we all have to face is love is predicated on how you treat yourself. The people who love themselves the most are the ones who get the most goddamn following. That's why I say you can't say nothing about big black girls. They got them egos. It's through the big girls love themselves. And everybody love big black girls. The big mama figures that they like to sell to us. You love her, why? Because she's so loving of her own damn self. She's so comfortable with who she is. It makes you comfortable around her. That's your therapy, is living your damn life and not worrying about the bullshit they put on your shoulders to worry about every day.
So, like to piggyback, I guess I got to give a little bit of pushback to like the N word, and I hope this is I'm gonna explain it in a way and explain kind of part of why I call my channel Chronicles of Nygahtry, right? So just to give preface, we were reading H. Rap Brown, it's called Die Nigga Die, right? So what he said, where is it? Yeah. Oh, here you go. So he says, and this is actually not H. Rap Brown. This is Donnell Lee, formerly known as what's his name, Haki Makdabuti, who wrote book Black Men. Where is it? I got it somewhere. But he's a very popular author. He's the head of Third World Press here in Chicago. But he goes on to say, he says, to be black in this country is to be a nigga. To be a nigga is to resist both white and Negro death. It is to be free in spirit, if not body. It is the spirit of resistance which has prepared blacks for the ultimate struggle. This word nigga, which is taboo in Negro and white America, becomes meaningful like in the black community. Then he says, amongst blacks, it is not uncommon to hear the words my nigga like addressed to a brother as an expression of kinship and brotherhood and respect for having resisted. So a lot of people will say, they just calling people niggas solely off of it's a term of endearment. No, it's only a term of endearment for having resisted. So I'm gonna explain this kind of like how somebody will say, I think I heard, Doc Kilimanjaro talk about finding the negative of talking about the unity like of opposites, finding the positive in a negative unity of opposites, right? So our people are going to transform in stages. So what the word nigga represents is opposition to white people. And people find endearment and kinship in resistance. So even like with blackness, right? And a lot of people don't know like that the word Negro has a derogatory term when you study people like Richard B. Moore, Malcolm X, and a lot of the people coming up in the 40s and 50s, Negro meant only like a descriptor, like just meaning black, meaning you have no culture, you have no country. So, the word nigga is in response to it, like it's a response to white people saying, we are your enemy. Like, we don't want to be like you. And that vehicle, that mechanism, like of blackness, will turn into our people going from black power to Pan-Africanism. So Stokely Carmichael will become like a Kwame Ture. So I'm not on the whole thing of solely trying to make like, like degenerate culture something that we should embrace, but it's more so of teaching people to love themselves where they are, because a lot of people aren't going to be like where we are yet because they don't know the information that we know. But I think the word is useful in terms of giving our people back home, getting our people back to Africa psychologically. So in a way, it can be therapeutic. So, one day, they may start with nigga, they may start with black, but eventually they'll be led to African, because like one thing people can make a mistake on is feeling that our people have to be the most purest, the most moral at the beginning. A lot of people will transform and develop in stages. So it's even like, just relating to people in different situations, whether they be in the street and be in the underworld, we got to be able to meet our people where they are and then take them, where they need to go. So part of even my channel Chronicles of Nygahtry is more so about meeting people where they are and exposing them, the information in a way that they'll hear it. So it's not even like to be comical or just kind of make a joke out of stuff, but it's more so to talk to people who normally wouldn't want to know about any of this information. Because I think we got to be creative even with the therapy, because our oppression is so relentless. So I think, Hockey's term, how he phrased nigga makes sense in just the context of always feeling like we got to be the most moral, we got to be perfect, while white people don't have to be moral at anything. So I think we can give ourselves somewhat of a break in leading our people back to Africa. So I think part of the therapy is kind of walking with our people. Even, I don't know if I can say the title, but just the whole, like as I learn, we learn. It's kind of this, similar concept with Ubuntu, but just walking with our people and being understanding. So like that's kind of what I try to do, like on my channel, is just trying to meet people where they are and be able to talk to them and get them to feel okay with being where they are, so that they don't have so much hostility and animosity towards themselves, so they can get to a point to where they can be solely in like enveloped in African culture, African language, African food, but it's a tough process because we got to take our people from white culture, from Arab culture, from Asian culture, and get them all the way back to African culture. And it's a process. So I guess I only, to play devil's advocate, I feel like sometimes a lot of a lot of people who aren't for our people will use the whole N-word thing to hold over young people's heads to make them feel like they can never change type thing. So for me, it's more so about relating to that spirit of resistance of white people, because like there's a whole culture of respectability that tries to kind of inhibit young people, and we feel like everything we do is ratchet or negative or derogatory, or even the music or even them banning drums, like all of that stuff. So I just kind of feel like it's important for our people to love themselves where they are so that they can really grow and develop, because like a lot of our people will have so much animosity, when they start off, that they'll never be able to see themselves in a positive light. So part of the word nigga becoming something positive is rooted in resistance. And I think a lot of people, and even the book, right, called Die Nigga Die, is basically saying all of the white institutions are telling you, die nigga die. It's not about trying to make it something positive and make negative things something that we should embrace, but it's really about loving yourself and seeing that resistance is something that will lead you to being African, lead you to loving yourself. So while you're a nigga, you still gotta love yourself, because a lot of our people, they never can see themselves as something to be valued. So that's just kind of my, playing the devil's advocate, to the word, just to kind of, being able to walk with our people.
Yeah, I definitely understand that, and we definitely need people like that to, start with people from where they're at, because a lot of people fresh off the street, they ain't trying to hear no, they ain't trying to hear no PowerPoint presentation. Just to be honest with you.
I know, yeah.
So we definitely need that, and I understand where you're coming from. What I'm saying, like, is a more overall perspective, is more of speaking. It's more of speaking. How do I put this? But yeah. I can't think of how I want to phrase or phrase what I want to say right now. But I understand what you're saying, and I'm not coming at you or your channel.
Oh yeah, no,
I forgot you even had that Chronicles of Nygahtry. I figured that was something that you was trying to like flip, and I don't know which way you were trying to flip it, but I didn't. I obviously knew that you meant it in a different type of way. But what I mean is like, man, people, even if you explain this to people, sensible people, because I'm not too far removed from, you know what I'm saying, that type of environment myself. And like I say, I still say the word too sometimes. I'm trying my best not to, but why I chose to kind of distance myself from that is because if somebody from a outside race was to come up and say that to me, I'm gonna be offended. You know what I mean? So I don't want to give nobody no reason to think that that's cool because I know my temper. Sometimes I might not be able to explain that to you why it's disrespectful. Even though, you know, I really shouldn't have to. I might not have that temperament at that time to be able to explain to you why that's not appropriate. Bro, you Mexican, bro. You don't. I shouldn't have to explain to you why you shouldn't be calling me nigga. You know what I mean? And two, I just don't see other groups of people taking that cool. Like if I say, let's use the example of a Mexican essay. If I was to call him a spick, he gonna be ready to fight. You know what I'm saying? And understandably, you know what I'm saying? So and they go the same way for me. You call me a nigga, bro, and I don't know you like that, bro. You might get two. You might get two pieces. You know what I mean? Coming from a different racial background and or genetic background than I am, bro. Your people didn't have to deal with this. Your people didn't have to have those last words being uttered to them before they were hung or why they were beaten. You know what I'm saying? So that's my perspective on it. I just don't want it to be a situation where it is like it is now. Like Vasa said, you got Asian, Chinese people even saying it now. Like, you know, and none of these people fuck with us. So why do you feel like it's cool to say that, but everybody want to be a nigga, but nobody want to be a nigga? That's Paul Mooney. You know what I mean? And that shit powerful. What you gonna say, Sutekh? Go ahead, bro.
Yeah. The only thing, because I feel what both y'all saying actually, but the only thing I would say, like when we comparing the word nigga to another race, is like we use the word as a term as an endearment. Like you wouldn't hear another Mexican call another Mexican a spick and be playing around like, oh, what up, my spick, or you know what I'm saying? Like, que pasa speak or whatever. Like it's no word that equates to the word nigga that we can compare it to, man. Like this word is a standalone word. Like you really can't compare it to another word when people using language to, you know, show their endearment to each other. Like it's like you can't say wet back.
I have one almost close enough for you, Sutekh, when you're ready. Almost, but not quite.
Yeah, I'm just like, cause I was just sitting up here thinking when both of y'all was talking. I'm like, I'm like Sutekh. Like, yeah, I try not to use the word, but y'all know I use the word. And then I feel like the brother Chris too. Like, you know, you got to meet people where they at. Y'all know I'm big about that. Like, you know, I feel like you got to be well adept in all areas. You know, like not well adept, but you got to know a little something about everything, just so you can pull people, you know, out of that paradigm if that's what the task is.
And just like real quick, man, one thing I picked up on, like when you look at like the Italians, the Irish, a lot of white groups, man, they got so many racial slurs. So I think one thing I've learned about white people is that they'll try to act like they don't do certain things and they'll do it a million times worse. So I get it from not, you know, dehumanizing ourselves, of course, but I'm just saying like there's a lot of stuff that white people will try to tell Black people to do that we're way ahead of them in a lot of areas. But then you look at that culture and you like, for example, watch the movie Hoodlum, right, with Lawrence Fishburne. The dude Dutch Schultz, man, he uses every every racial slur for Irish people, for Italian people, for Hispanic people. I mean, and this is within maybe a frame of 5-10 minutes. And my only pushback is only that a lot of the other groups in power, they'll impose certain things on us because they know they have more power than us. But I think the dynamic will change as we have more power. For example, with the whole anti-Semitism thing, it's not about morality, it's about power. It's about them having the power to impose something on us and we not having the power to respond. So I think that's kind of where the conversation is going as well.
What about the biracial aspect? Because I know we speak from a perspective of, you know, a lot of us in the community, like with the whole good hair thing.
Yeah.
You know, you see a sister and she got straighter hair and she may not necessarily be mixed with her mom or dad or somebody that close to her being Caucasian or of any other quote unquote race. What about because now we got to always put, like you say, meet people where they at. So we got to put it in perspective for where we at in 2020, right? So you got Black people who speak Japanese. You got, you know what I'm saying? You got, it's the world ain't so black and white where we could talk about, oh, well, Black people do this, white people do this, Indian people do this. Yes, that's true. However, what about these babies that I teach and encounter and have been teaching and encountering for years, who absolutely have undergone a therapeutic process for their parole program? And I'm helping them get through the process as they're losing friends left and right, students that I taught the semester before, and I don't see them the next semester. And this man is straight up Mexican and Black. And he on the phone having a conversation with one of his buddies, and they using the word nigga. How do I get to walk up on them and say, you can't use this, that, and the other one? Come to find out, as I learned about his story, he's in my program, he's half Black. My djembe teacher, first djembe teacher, he's half Black, half white. White complexion, but our hair. At least the kinky part of our hair. Of course, he has locks. All right. How did we get to say, oh, you can't use this word, you can't use that word, when you don't even know people's full, you know, phenotypes don't help you out. Right. I think we need to just throw that in the mix to say that all of what we're saying are good points that we're bringing up, all aspects, but we do need to factor that in, and most of us don't talk about that.
Right, and that's another point of why I try not to use the term, because I don't want to tell nobody, you know what I mean, yo, don't call me this, not knowing what, you know, their genetic background, their cultural background, and then I'm out saying, you know what I'm saying? Like that's contradictory. I want to, you know, I got to keep it fair around the board.
I just want to say about the good hair thing. There's no such thing as good hair. You know, we have kinky hair, but we also have curly hair. We also have straight hair. So it's no such thing as, but that's the reason why I wrote the article and the presentation, where I actually wrote the article, stop using the N-word. People thought I was saying the nigger, but I was saying nappy. You know what I'm saying? Because it's, you know, when we look, it's, you know, we define kinky hair as bad hair, or we look at someone that has some curly hair or straight hair and we say, oh, he's not Black. He's not Black. He's got, you know, he's half white, or he's mixed with something else. So our hair come in all variations and not just one variation of being kinky. I did some thorough research. You can go check out the article on Kofi Paisai. I'd rather for you to go check it out on Kofi Paisai Written Composition, but it's also on Kofi Paisai TV.com, the article, but I don't have any pictures. So I have the research and I have the pictures also on there to bag up what I'm saying. I'll show you. The only thing that I didn't add that I should have added was on there was the blonde hair, which where it wasn't actually blonde. I mean, because that's something a big thing of me on about seeing women with blonde hair. But you know, our color, our hair come in all different types of shades, too. But man, it's been a good conversation. I know, man, we can keep on talking. I wanted to hit some other celebrities that we had on there, but man, we running out of time. Um, yeah, we're gonna do part two because I wanna talk about Terry Crews. I want us to talk about Terry Crews. I want us to talk about Cardi B, you know, Kanye
I
West.
want to talk about this damn platinum food stamp card for a minute. Wait, don't end the show. I
Man, we
need
finna
that.
end. No, sir. You can talk about it next show because you did the talking. We gonna be on here another 2 hours.
No, scratch all that, man. I want one of them briskets like Sutekh. My bad, y'all. I walked to the phone. I've been
But
away from it, but good job, y'all. I might
yeah,
not get my
yeah,
closeout moment. So peace, everybody.
great build.
yeah. Hold on, real quick, man. So we finna get off here, but yeah, we'll get back to like these few in about. I wanted to, you know, get some. Huh?
What Jay-Z do?
You know, I just get some perspective on some, you know, on some, you know, some things on Jason. We'll talk about next time, man, because I wanted to like get y'all perspective and my perspective on some of these individuals too, like a Nick Cannon and a Cardi B, a Kanye West, and definitely Terry Crews. We definitely gonna have to talk about, you know, some of the things that Terry Crews has been doing and some of the things that he's been saying, man. But we're gonna do like a part two. We probably gonna do like a part two, part three, because these individuals that we got on here, I definitely wanna like speak and talk about these guys and even some more celebrities that we may think of. But these was the only one that I could think of like right off the rip, because I know we was talking about the statement that Akon made, but I know Sutekh mentioned Kanye West, and I thought about Terry Crews. Okay, we got to talk about Terry Crews, and you know, the thing going on with Nick Cannon, and you know,
Terry
this
Crews
issue.
gonna be done saying something dumb before the next one.
I know we just gonna have more information, more ammo on that, brother. Yeah, but again, man, I we appreciate everybody, man, for tuning in. We appreciate, you know, the people that came in and stayed the duration of the show, man. We really greatly appreciate y'all. We appreciate the ones that even just popped in for a brief minute and then, you know, popped out or popped in for a little while and then popped out. Just I wanted to mention real quick about the new show author's perspective. I'm always saying African, but
Kofi,
author's perspective.
Kofi, before you do that, can I make a closing statement on
Oh
the
man, let me
topic?
get through.
If,
Let me
10
get through with this,
seconds, 10
boss. All
seconds,
right, go ahead.
10 seconds,
Go ahead.
10 seconds.
All right.
I just want everybody to remember this one thing, and we mentioned it earlier. I'm gonna try to be as quick as possible. Remember that celebrity itself is an American product. Starting in the 1920s, 30s, you can look at your what's his name, the actor that didn't speak, the comedian, your Charlie Chaplin era, right? This is when you see the birth of these quote unquote celebrities, just everyday people making it. Part of the economic structure is to sell that idolization. That's why everybody wants to be on stage or in the movies, right? So when we ask why it is that the celebrities that Black people go to are the new authoritative figures, just remember that. And in that, don't let them sell you the illusion. That's all I wanted to say. If we know that's what it is, and think about it, this is why most of your celebrities in the Black community come from one institution. I can guarantee you this: 1/3 of almost all Black
So
celebrities
your 10
come
seconds
from
is
the
up, man.
church. All right. Who is it? That's the boxer. I got some gloves, T'Challa. Damn it, I'm gone.
Yeah.
I'm
But
gone,
nah,
y'all.
yeah, just real quick, man. We're gonna end the show, man. Just like I said, we got a new show. We'll be doing twice a month. Authors' perspectives. We'll be interviewing authors. It's also gonna be educational for those who want to know how to put books together, proper citations, proper methodology, um, publishing, um, design, layout, um, you know, and promoting the individual's book that we interview, and just, you know, walking through the mind of the life of a writer or author in general. We got our first interview this Sunday at 3 p.m. We're gonna try to keep those shows like at least an hour long, you know. So tune in to that new show that, like I said, we'll be doing. We got 4 lined up right now. Some great interviews. So we got 4, and those that have some publications out. If you're interested in us interviewing you and coming on and talking about your published works, and, you know, letting us interview you, and you walking us through your process and your steps, just email us at info@kofipaisatv.com. That is info@kofipaisatv.com. Again, I always have to put the channels out there. Please go support the channels. Please support. Please subscribe to Kofi Paisat TV, Niger Valley Civilzation, Mossi Warrior Clan, Chronicles of Nygahtry, Omni Africa Collective, Seshew My ID Netcher. These are all of our individual channels. Please go subscribe to the channels. If you hadn't subscribed to the channels, please hit the notification bell, so when either one of us go live from these channels, you will get a notification and won't miss this great information. Again, please subscribe. Please support. And please tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Again, I always have to promote the publications that we got out. So please, if go to Kofi Paisat TV or Amazon.com. Both publications are on Kofi Paisat TV .com and Amazon.com. We don't care where you get it from, just get it. Get the book. We guarantee that your money will be well spent. We won't let you down. Each chapter is fire. Volume 1 and Volume 2. My opinion, Volume 2, Spirits of the Mossi is a great work. Volume 2 to me is better. But also Spirits of the Mossi is you know, we'll be coming out real soon with a bunch of footage from over there from Gambia. So be on the lookout for the footage and some things that we got going on with the Gay and Journal Skill Institution over there in Gambia. So please support. Again, we have some other publications coming out. Next month we have an individual publication coming out. Then I have 2 publications coming out in October. Then we have another collective work of Volume 3 coming out in November. Hopefully we'll be able to get my other 2 brothers, their individual projects out before the end of the year is out also. So Kofi Paisat research team is working. We got something to prove this year. We're gonna prove it by the end of 2020. Kofi Paisat research team is gonna make a statement in this so-called conscious community. So again, appreciate everybody for supporting. We appreciate your time, man, and we'll see you next time, man. And we out, man. Black African Power. Like I said, ETM Hotep, that means bring in peace or come in peace. So now I want to say Shemim Hotep. Shemim Hotep just means to depart in peace. So Black African Power and a biddy for Houdier.